when he's having a tough day or we have some kind of setback, what I say in that moment will impact his decisions. So there's a level of power there to understand your role,
Yeah, and the
you know,
influence.
and that influence will steer the whole family. So if I'm just rah 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 beating him up, he may crash, and if he crashed, the whole house crash. But if I'm mindful of what I say,
Look at you protecting the investment.
if I'm mindful of what I say, and if I don't know what to say, sometimes just being there, or praying, asking God, just continue to keep him strong, lift the heaviness of the load so he can keep going step by step every day. Just doing those things, and understanding your power as a mother. Like when I shifted the way I ate, the whole family shifted. You know what I mean? So you have influence over to affect the entire household. And if you're affecting the household, you're affecting the whole bloodline because the experience that your children
Legacy.
have, that will impact either in a good way or a bad way how they parent, or how they
Yeah.
view parenting. You know what I mean? So what you say, you're speaking either life or death.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Legacy's Journey, where we're talking about leaving a legacy for your business. Of course, I'm your host, Cameron Williams, owner of Kinley Consulting, where we focus on strategic financial growth for your marketing agency. And here today, now I got a special guest. Like I say, every guest is special, but this one is super special because it's the wife. Like show them you. So that's how you know. So this is the wife, Ari. Tell the people hello.
Hi, everybody. How are you?
Now you know you got to speak louder. She's very
Hey.
soft-spoken. So of course we always talk about legacy, family. So I figured like why? Oh, first off, wait. Let's do some shout-outs because maybe we can get some sponsorships. So first and foremost, we are in beautiful Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
At the Commitment Summit. You see it all in the back. Hosted by our mastermind, and I think you guys have heard me talk about them. And of course, it's a family trip, it's a family conference. So what we wanted to do, I felt like it would be a great opportunity. Those same questions that we ask other business owners, let's have that conversation between somebody who knows me better than anybody else, outside of maybe my mom, I guess. Well, no, at this
I
point.
can't beat mama.
Well, at this point, she know me better than my mom. But why not have the person that literally is helping me build my legacy? Let's do a podcast, right? So, first off, Ari, tell them whatever you want to tell them for your intro.
Okay.
And we're going to end up doing a lot of laughing, so we sorry in advance because we got so many jokes. All right, what you want to tell the people?
All right. Hey, I'm Ari. I'm Cam's wife. I'm also the mother of all three of his children.
Uh-oh.
We've been married for almost 10 years, and it has been an honor and a privilege to see you grow over the
Oh, you
years.
so sweet. She might make me sound good today, y'all. All right, so let's jump on into it. So, I'm only going to say not how did you get started, but I will start. One of the questions we always ask is, what did your spouse say when you came up with the idea to start your company? So literally, of course, this is my spouse. So what did you say? Or tell them the story.
Okay. Well, the story is I was 9 months pregnant, and Cameron
Oh,
ended up
yeah.
losing his job, right?
That's correct.
Devastated. The wind was knocked out of both of us.
Mm-hmm.
He came home like expecting me to not love him anymore and all these things. I'm like, sir, like your value is not based on what you can produce. And I will continue to say that. Your value is not based on
Oh.
what you produce. I love
Oh.
you for who you are.
Okay.
So
Thank
one day
you.
when I was cleaning, it had been a couple of months, where we were on food stamps and we had really hit rock bottom. And we were like,
Facts.
we went to college. We never expected to be hit like
we
this.
got a wall full of degrees.
Wall full of degrees. Like this one graduated early, So I was cleaning, and I'm a person of faith, just like him. And so I was cleaning and praying and just giving God praise. And he spoke to me and was like, I'm blocking Cameron from getting jobs because there are talents, gifts, and abilities in him that he won't tap into if he has a job. And so I was like, well, dang, how am I supposed to say that to him? Because
And when she said it, y'all,
What
when
we
I tell
gonna
y'all
do?
I was looking so stupid.
yeah, so and I told him, I was like, babe, just because you got fired from that job, because of the layoffs,
Yep.
that doesn't mean that you don't have the skill set that you earned while you were there. You still have all your degrees.
Yep.
You still have all of the skills. You have the soft skills. You have the wisdom and the knowledge that you gained in the workforce. So you're still an accountant. Be an accountant. And his response was, who's going to hire me when I lost my job? I said, sir, how they going to know you lost your job? Like, be who you are. You know, I said, you have a lot to offer. And then I told him the part about the talents, gifts, and abilities. And what he said was, "Oh, I ain't got no talent, skills, and abilities." And I mean, how long has it been? About 5 years?
5 years is actually in July. So like in 2 more weeks, it'll be 5 years. Can you believe that?
That's crazy.
It's been a 5 year.
Our life has really changed
Drastically.
Like, I thought I was going to have to work like really hard. And I'll say this. It was difficult for me to not be in a position to help him when this happened, because my natural inclination would be to be a good teammate.
Yeah.
The way I define that would be me working this super high-level job, and so if anything pops off, I would be savior. I would be the one to catch him when he falls. But I'm now getting to a point where I'm grateful that I wasn't able to do that, because the way that he's grown is beyond what I could have done by being the savior, by helping him in the way that I wanted to help him. But thankfully, I was able to help him in the way he needed me to help him, even when I wasn't aware of what his needs were.
Praise
so,
Jesus.
Yeah, he has definitely grown over the past 5 years. He has surpassed his old salary multiple times over. And it's all because of God and trusting him. Now, he did linger, you know, being obedient to starting his business.
I did.
But what I'm most proud of is that he learned from that.
Yep.
And he overcame. Like, he's not the type of guy, like, if something happens where we're in a tough spot, he's not the type to go out there. Like me, I went and I was delivering people's groceries. I'm like, my babies are finna have everything that they need. If I got to deliver somebody's groceries, then it is what it is. I was 9 months pregnant talking about what was I trying to do? Uber, and my father-in-law was like, Ari, no, you finna have a baby. Like, have a seat. We got it.
Chill.
But he may not be that type of person, but what he did do is use the skills that he had to make sure that we ate. It was grits. But
3 nights in a row.
But he found a way to stretch $35 in a way I wouldn't have been able to calculate that. Like, I would have been like, this ain't enough, you know? So he used his skills to take care of his family, and he is still doing that, and I am beyond proud of him.
Oh, boy. We're not making no babies in Costa Rica, by the way.
No, we done.
That's our homework.
We're done.
That's our homework. All right. So I think that's a real good one. So there's that. Now, I would normally ask people, like, what are some family things that, like, we do to connect on our off days, which they've heard in other podcasts. I've talked about, like, we do pancakes on the weekends, which you know that the kids love that. But I think since it's just me and you, like, what are some things that you're finding are good connections for just me and you? Not necessarily us as a family, but just husband and wife.
Well, first of all, Team No Kids has been a blessing, honey, because I didn't know I was so burnt out. 8 years straight with no real break from kids. Like, who is this new person evolving?
So, in other words, you're saying, like, single, like, just
one-on-one.
mom and dad
Yeah,
time.
like being, like your dad would always say, you got to be husband and wife because the kids aren't always going to be there.
Yep.
So just finding time to make those connections with you, going on new adventures, doing things that we haven't done before.
Like Costa Rica.
Yeah, but when we didn't have any money, we still were intentional about making the evening part our time to spend together.
Which we still do, by the way.
Yeah.
We call it boo time.
Boo
We got that
time.
from my dad. But, you know, once the kids are in the bed, that's like our time to talk more about our day. We got certain shows that we watch together.
Right.
And then we got, like, our individual shows that we watch, like, when the other person may be busy or she may go to sleep first. So we've kept that tradition. We try to do date night at least once a month.
I mean, it's a little slim.
That one's a little bit
slim.
harder because, you know, you got to find a babysitter that you
And
gel
I don't trust
with.
everybody with my children, so there's that. So that's partially my fault. But
Yeah, because our parents are still super busy in their
Yeah.
careers, so it's not like they're waiting. Another question I would ask you then is, well, did you have any more to add to that, I guess?
well, I was gonna say the thing about game night, but we know what happened with game night.
Do you want to tell them about game night?
So we used to like to play Uno, you know, or
'Cause she
whatever. I
loses?
still like to play Uno. Let
'Cause
me
she
clarify.
loses.
Nah, I don't lose all the time. But he was gonna put me on blast, and see, I don't play that. You ain't finna put me on blast, period. So I got mad, and I threw the cards, and then I locked him out the door. And so, yeah. So when I responded, I was triggered. I was not my best self in that moment. And so I will publicly apologize for
Because
who
you
I
know, a lot
was
of
and my
y'all,
triggered
especially if y'all
state.
my buddies, y'all were like, so we want to know who won the best out of 10 Uno.
No, but there was that one round where you
Boy,
he
I
start.
ate her
It was
up,
his.
boy.
First of all, I dealt the cards, and before I could even get a turn, he
Ate her
put
up.
all the cards on the table,
Because
and
see,
I'm
the way
like, I
we
didn't even
do,
get a chance to play.
because the way we do Uno, right? We don't deal 7, we deal 10 cards. And then we had this one called Uno Wild. So the whole deck is wilds. So it's nothing but specialty cards. And so I had made this comeback. She's up like 2-0, 3-0. And I came back. And I'm like, you could technically tie it. I think I was like, it was like either 6-3 or it was 5-3. And she dealt the cards. And it was the perfect hand. I just bow,
And
bow,
something
bow.
told me I should have took that hand, but I was like, no, I'm gonna be honest. And then I was like,
She didn't get a chance to play.
I should have took that hand.
And you know what? That's when I learned game night may not be the best thing for you, right? Okay, let's talk about now. I'm trying to stick to my questions that are
Okay.
kind of the norm, but I think we can kind of freestyle because it's us.
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell the wife of somebody who's either just starting a business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe they're at year 2 or 3 and it's just now starting to pick up that momentum because that would have been you, right? You're the supporter in this example and you saw me staying up late and doing all the stuff I was doing, which you can talk about all that as well. But what would be like your thing to encourage those people? Because we thought at the beginning being a stay-at-home mom was like this rarity.
Yeah, I was the only person I knew who was doing that, and so I felt very insignificant.
And then we started getting around other business owners like here at the Commitment
Yeah.
Summit. And then next thing you know, it's like, oh, your wife stays at home with the kids. Your wife stays at home with it. And it's like, oh, snap. So we done stumbled onto something that was really good. But tell them your piece and like, how would you encourage, that wife or maybe it's the husband to, I don't know if you want to say support. What would you tell them?
Well, I remember when we had gotten some furniture. I'm gonna use an example. Well, I'm just gonna share the story. So I had gotten some furniture and I was building it, and like I said, I'm a person of faith, so I'm building it or whatever. And there's these little small screws that go into whatever I was building. I feel like it was a dresser or something. And the Lord just spoke to me in the small, still voice and was like, "Those small screws are significant." And so when He said that, he was really speaking to me, like, because I'm the small screw. Yeah, he may be the face of the company, he's the one in the forefront, but the little bit that I add, whether it be an encouragement here or there, or whether it's keeping the children out of the way, or making sure that he eats and drinks water, or
'Cause I
making
won't.
sure that we're providing some kind of experience, or for the kids, or I plan something for him and myself. Like, those small inputs are valuable and important, and that's what helps the whole thing stand up. You know what I mean? Like, we're not the core, like God is the core, but we are significant. So I would tell the person, I would encourage them by saying that you are significant, even if what you're doing is counterculture, and not what you planned. Like, you're still significant.
Well, why don't you tell them some ways you do contribute? Because, like you said, maybe that person feels like, well, dang, I'm just a bump on the log. I'm not doing anything. I'm just saying words you've said in the past. So, like, how have you found ways to either help or maybe you found out, maybe from me, that, oh, what I did was valuable and I just didn't recognize that?
I think it's very important. I feel like, number one, therapy. Everybody should get therapy, whether you think you fine or
She
not.
will
Because I
argue
can
you.
guarantee you it's something that ain't fine up in there. Something under the hood need to be fixed to help you function better. But I would say personal growth has really helped me to identify what I am contributing.
Oh,
Because
that's good.
a lot
say
of
that
times
back. Say that back. Say
personal
it
growth has helped me to identify what I am contributing.
Okay.
Because a lot of times I would be like, oh, that don't count. Like, me fixing his plate don't count. Or me watching the kids and making sure that they're smart, that don't count because I'm
Which,
not
by
living
the way,
my
she
dreams.
homeschools, and all kids are like on track or above track, and she does not have a teaching degree. So that in and of itself,
I mean, I got psychology and communications and media.
masters.
Yeah, so I use the
Hey,
skills I
stun on
got.
them real quick. Bachelor's in psychology, master's in
degree.
communication.
And I graduated the year COVID happened. But prior to that, the Lord was telling me you need to homeschool your kids. And I was like, don't nobody want to do that. I want to have my career, period. What? And so once I went to church one Sunday and The gentleman who came to speak, he was a guest speaker, a guest pastor at, I think, where were we at, North Point, and he
Oh
preached
yeah, yeah,
on
yeah.
Naaman. And in his message, he was talking about, like, he shared some of his personal story about how he was homeschooled and all this. And I felt like the man was talking directly to me. And if you don't know the story of Naaman, he was a very high ranking official in his day. And he was struggling, was it leprosy? And he
I
had
don't
that
quite know
sickness.
this
And
story.
so he went to Jesus asking for help. And Jesus told him to jump in the Jordan River 7 times. And if you don't know, the Jordan River is like a nasty river. So if you're a high ranking official, what it looked like you jumping in some nasty water. But that was the way his healing was going to be available. So sometimes you got to get past what you think you want to do, or, trying to save face. You got to get past that and get your healing. And so at that point, I was like, dang, I'm thinking I'm too good to be a stay-at-home mom because I worked so hard to get degrees so that we wouldn't be starving and hungry or be homeless or struggle with the things
Yeah.
that, me and my mom struggled with when she was raising me as a single mom.
Yeah.
And so I failed to realize that I was not a single mom. So the things that my mom struggled with, I was able to break some of those generational curses, because I'm married to a partner he's a provider. He's not the provider, but he's our household provider. Like,
Shout out
God
to
uses
Jesus.
him to provide for us. And so, like I said, that personal growth and development, accepting what God has called you to do, how He's called you to contribute, even if it's not flashy, it's still significant. So
Yeah, and I mean, and she still helps out in the business, right? So like my logo, so like, oh, by the way, let's take a sponsorship break. So the
yes.
hat and the shirt y'all see, this is from Height Swag. So shout out to Johnny B
Woo!
and Joe.
Y'all did a great job.
People love this. Of course, they got the hat. I don't know if y'all can see that. Y'all know it says Walk by Faith, I think, on both. So they did that. And also, shout out to Go Box Studio, who is letting us come live from Costa Rica.
Yes.
They got us set up, and I hope y'all like this. I'm not saying it's going to be how it is going forward, but we thank them for letting us use their space. But back to your point, like, Ari's the creative one. I'm more of the analytical numbers person. She's my creative one, and I've always said she's like my HR experience person. So a lot of times with clients, I'll be like, all right, how do I say this? Or how do I position this to make this sound good? And because she understands that psychology, she used to always tell me, you need to either be like Chick-fil-A or you need to be like Apple, which is superior customer experience. She's
Right.
like, why do you go to Chick-fil-A? And you telling this because this is what you told me. You're like, Cam, why you go to Chick-fil-A?
I mean, because they make you feel like you're a valued customer. And if they make a mistake, they're already 10 steps ahead of you. By the time you make it through that long line, they already got a free gift card for you. We're so sorry you had to wait. And I may be thinking, I'm just glad I got to the front. But you got ahead of me,
So now bring that to the business.
So
So
as-
she was telling me,
I mean, I don't remember what I said verbatim, but I mean, something along the lines of, if you make a mistake, like your dad said, it's not about making a mistake. It's about how you respond when you make the mistake.
Right.
Like, are you on top of it? Do you fix it right away? Do you make the person feel safe? Like,
yeah, because this is let's say I find a mistake. Most of the time, like 98% of the time, if there's a mistake from something I was working on with a client, right? Of course, I'm the one who finds it, but me, just because of the way I'm wired, I want everything to be perfect. So I'm like, oh my gosh, Ari, I think I made the mistake. How do I tell him? How do I word it? And she's the one that's literally like, look, first off, take a breath. And then, I mean, you could tell them, you right here, you ain't got to look at me
I mean,
talk.
you can tell your experience, because your experience with me may be different than what I may have
Well, what she
contributed,
typically tells me is like, okay, first off, did you fix it? So let's start at the fact and celebrate that you found it and fixed it before it even got to the client. And then from there, she's like, okay. And then I'm like, well, how do I say it? Is this something you bring up? And she may say, well, sometimes you don't need to go into detail because they don't need to know the technical part. They don't care. You found it, did you fix it? Or just tell them the solution. She's like, think about it. When your stuff is messed up or you get a bad order or something, you don't care, oh, well, it was the guy that flipped the wrong burger. And did you fix it? That's all you need to know. And sometimes I may overshare because I want, hey, this is what we found. And she like, Cam, they don't care about that. And so because she understands psychology, communications, and is really good at marketing, she's able to help me kind of steer so that customer experience piece stays really high. So a lot of our feedback from clients, they're like, oh yeah, Cameron does this, this, and this. And in my head, I'd be like, You know, because we're not robots, right? I even tell my team, you're going to make a mistake. Everybody knows that. We just want to limit those, and we want to give such a good client experience. Let's say we did make a mistake. We got so much goodwill
Yeah.
built up, it doesn't
More
matter.
good than bad.
And that's what she would always say, like, even with our kids, and
Yeah.
I guess we should talk about them. Like, how was that on those nights where I do have to work late, which I don't have to do that too much anymore, thank God. But year two,
At the
1, 2, and
beginning,
3,
yeah.
hey, your boy, what you say I used to stay up?
He would be up. Like, Cameron is the type of person, like, he is a machine. If there's such thing as a human machine, it's Cam. Like, I'm downstairs waiting for him to come out of our
For
room.
boo time.
It's 5 in the morning, and he's still going, and he's not tired. I'm like, sir, cut it off. You have to know when to stop, because what you don't want to do is be in the point where you're going so hard that your body lets you know you need to stop. You don't want that, because then you're being stopped by force.
And I feel like that's how she helps me because literally when I'm not, like, let's say, like, she dropped the kids off before we came here. Like, there's no indicator for me to stop. I just work. Like, she's the one who's like, you realize it's time to eat now. You see what I'm saying? So those are the things I would say that you really help bring that balance for me because I'll just keep working. But, like, part of me stopping is like, it's 8 o'clock, it's boo time, or, you know, things like that. So I would say helping me to stay balanced has been really helpful just because, like she told you, you're going to always, and that's why I'm so big, even with my team or with our clients, like, you can stop working because at some point, you're going to keep finding stuff to fix. I'm going to keep finding more
The
work
work
to
gonna
do.
be there,
Oh,
honey.
I'm going to do these 2 things. You do that. Oh, well, I need to do this. So you're always going to find something. And so Ari does a really good job of like, hey, I know you trying to kill it for your people, but it's time to rest. It'll be there for you tomorrow. So I think that's one way it's helped. I guess from the parenting standpoint, how do you feel me having a business has gone?
I think in regards to children, it's all about being present to frame their experience. For example, there have been times where, like, our kids know daddy's working, right? So there have been times where they may say a comment like, man, daddy's always working. Or daddy said he was going to play X, Y, and Z game with me and he didn't.
Which
or,
makes me feel so bad, by the
Daddy's
way.
so busy. Like, that's when roots begin to form. And so as a stay-at-home mom, you have an opportunity to kind of uproot things before they become a lifelong problem.
Yeah.
So instead of allowing them to continue in this narrative in their mind of, oh, daddy's too busy for me, because that's what it turns into. Daddy is too busy for me. And I'm going to stop you right there and say, daddy is making provision for us to have the life that you have, to make sure that you have the food on the table, the new doll you want. If daddy wasn't working, you wouldn't be able to afford a $40 rainbow high doll, or to be able to go to different states. Like, our kids have been a lot of places and they're very young, so just reframing and shifting their perspective and playing those memories. Like, we record memories on YouTube, and like every now and then they'll be like, oh, mom, can we watch some of our memories? So I'm causing them to rehearse the good times, and the times that he had spent with them when I was going through a 5-year depression, So,
Well, explain that so they don't just,
Oh.
the whole postpartum, which I didn't learn this, but there's something called postpartum when you have a baby because your hormones are out of whack. So,
well, it wasn't just that. It was also my life not going in the direction that I planned.
Right.
Because I was planning to either have a corporate, my thing is I just wanted to be successful. So I was like, I'm open to that being in a corporate setting or with music. So I was just looking for.
Do you need to hit a note for him real quick?
No, because this is Legacy's journey. We're talking about your legacy.
Okay, but you part of it. But okay, I feel it.
And we got 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Shout out to Go Box Studio.
Yep. But anyway, where was I at?
You were talking about how for that beginning time. So we had already had Kendall by this point.
Oh yeah, Cam was holding it down. Like, I wasn't even coming out the room until like 12. I was kind of sleeping and just there. I didn't have the emotional capacity to parent which is why I think it's so valuable to go to therapy. Because once I was able to unload and unpack all of the traumas that that I had experienced, I have been free to evolve and to be emotionally present and experience the joy that children have to offer.
And I
The
think even value your role too.
Yeah, and to value my role, and to me the biggest part is just being emotionally present to actually experience what I have instead
Yeah.
of living so far in the past to where I can't even see what I have. And I'm just like I literally would
Well, you
just
explained that with KO too.
yeah, like
Our newest son, which I told y'all we got a 1 year old. So
like
you talk about that a lot now too. Which
how I
tell
can
them.
like just I used to hate like giving the kids a bath when they were babies and stuff. Like to me it just was another task and I felt like they were an inconvenience to me reaching my dream or trying to be happy. Like
That's real though.
I mean, that's the core of it. I'm just be honest with you. And so now, since I've unpacked all of that old junk, now I'm able to fully experience, oh, wow. Like, they're never going to be a baby again.
Yeah.
Yep, this is a sleepless night, but I'm just excited that I get to experience my child as a baby. Yeah, he's keeping me up, but I love this little person that I created
Yeah,
with my
versus
husband, you know?
who is that? I guess what Callie, like mentally she
I
was
was
out of
gone.
it. Like I was the one doing majority of the bath time since we were homeschooling. Like I would get up
Taught
homeschool
Kendall
till
how to
like
read.
yeah, I'd homeschool till like 12, and then that's when she'd be up and be more active. So then I'd go do all the business stuff.
Yeah.
So over time that shifted, of course, and so now she's able to
I can
enjoy
carry
KO.
more. I can handle more. My capacity has grown
Yeah.
because I got rid of all the junk. Still working through things, but I'm saying I have significantly more space to handle the household stuff so that you're free to go after it. Go after your dream of
Yeah, because
leaving a legacy.
we had to have that conversation like, hey, how were the responsibilities doled out, roles, etc. Because as the business grew, right, I was having to take on more and more, deal with more clients. So I'm like, well, I can't help as much. But I guess explain from your side, like as the other side of the team, how did you? I don't know if it's work through that or reconcile
I
that in
mean,
your
I
brain.
just didn't want to be the reason that you didn't go after it. Like, I feel like you've experienced a lot of personal growth yourself by doing something
I
you
hope
didn't
so.
think that you could do. Like, there was a time you were like, what talents, gifts, and abilities? And now you're encouraging people in the marketplace. Like, you're representing your faith in the marketplace, you know,
Shout
and
out
I
to
believe that
Jesus.
that's what God
Jesus
has called us
Christ.
to do is impact the
Jesus
world
Christ.
and be and be a solution to the world. So if
Yeah.
you're able to do that in the marketplace, in business, some of the people you encounter aren't going to come to church. They're not going to come hear me sing praise and worship, but they're going to encounter you. And because your light is shining, they're seeing him. You know, even though you may not necessarily be preaching a 5-point sermon or a series, but they see your life, you know? Oh no.
Wait.
Okay, fresh wind. I guess the Lord was pleased with that comment, honey. He caused the earth to respond.
This is what happens when you're live, okay? It's all good. By the
But
way,
yeah.
wait. Hey, come in real
Yeah,
quick.
tell the people
So
who you
we
are.
keep shouting out Go Box Studio. So this is the owner, Big Ken right here. So we're thankful for him sharing
We
this space with
are.
us. If y'all need something like this at your event, because of course we know plenty of marketers watch this, this is who you need to get in contact with. We'll make sure to drop his contact info in the link for the podcast, but we just want to put a face to the name when we say shout out Go Box
Yes.
Studio. This is who we're
This
talking
is
about.
him.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. So, I think a good thing to
I was just saying that reframing their thought process on it,
Yeah, the kids.
and giving them perspective has really helped.
yeah, because I be feeling bad, right? Like you want to try to make every single activity and special event. And I think one time you had to sit me down and say, like, look, I know you mean well, but Cam, you're not going to make every single thing. Because, like, she'd be like, oh, I want to take them to the museum. And I'm like, no, I want to go. And then she'd be like, when? And I'm looking at my calendar. And you used to just be like,
We're never gonna go waiting on you. Like you got to do what your role is, what God called you to do. Like you got to do that, and just trust that if it's something major, then I'm gonna let you know.
That is a major one that you
Yeah,
need
you
to carve
gotta be
out.
there, and I know that you will do that. You'll drop everything and do that,
Right.
and that's part of the reason why I married you, because I knew that you would be a good father, and I wanted my kids
Uh-oh.
to have a good
Uh-oh.
father, and you
Remember
have
your
been that.
homework, no babies.
I'm not gonna have no babies. I'm done.
Thank you,
But
Jesus.
um, but yeah, that reframing has really been helpful because they see, oh, because like the human mind, you're gonna forget. The forgetting is real. Like sometimes you can paint a picture in your mind and believe it, and then when you look at the hard facts and the evidence and video footage of yourself, you're like, oh
At
snap.
the zoo and in
Yeah.
San
Then you're
Diego
like,
and
oh
in
snap. What
Dallas
I
and
thought wasn't true.
yeah, because our
So
kids typically, like people here know, they're like, where are the kids? Because typically when we go to these, I bring the whole crew. So like I'm known for bringing my kids with me just because I want them to experience that and experience life with us, right? And then we get to experience like we never went out the country when we were kids. Like I
my
think I
first
went.
time was last year. What you talking about? At 31, huh?
Well, I think I went to the Bahamas with my grandma, but
Okay,
I
well
don't
you
know
was
if
traveling,
Bahamas
baby.
count.
I was at the
Do the
house
Bahamas count?
writing songs in my room.
Well, so right, so like going to we did San Diego last year, Baltimore, D.C.,
Yeah.
Dallas,
Did you
Orlando.
say San Diego?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like we try to bring them and like
Ohio,
teach them.
Indiana.
Yeah, we try to teach them like this is the real world. This is how you act. Oh, you see how we're able to go to the zoo? That's a byproduct
Of the hard work.
of the hard work. Like
And
daddy
now-
couldn't afford this if I didn't work. Now I think that doesn't excuse me making time for them because there's times in the middle of the day where they'll come in or when you take your break.
I think you're being a little hard on yourself.
Well, this is what I think, so that could be true. But like there are times when like my break time, so let's say I'm working and I work 2 or 3 hours straight, like back-to-back calls and stuff like that. Then for my break, I will go out there and interact with them because I know, I mean, they're my kids. They love me. I love them, right? So you try to do that and you try to make specific times. Like we talked about, you have those things to connect and to anticipate and look forward to. So like Pancake Day, we even got Moe's now on Sundays, which I don't know why I started that, but those children.
But they look forward to it. Like they're gonna remember that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
my
When-
daddy take me to Moe's.
When you make something a thing, people remember.
Yeah, just like when we go out of town to these different states for
Mm-hmm.
these conferences. Are we going to the zoo? I'm like, I can't even surprise y'all. Y'all already trying to be.
But
We're
that's
going to the
good.
museum.
That's good that they know that. They know that even though it's a business event, my daddy's gonna make time for me. Like you want that to be a foundational thought process. Like no matter
And these
what.
are the things she tries to drill. You know that okay, daddy has to go handle business, but he'll be back. And I think that's important to work in tandem like that, right? Because she's able to see the little things that I may miss. And then on the flip side, I just try to prep them for the real world. Like sometimes when we take them out to eat and we try to like those things that she's teaching them with the homeschool, like that's the perfect time to teach you about money. Oh, I want to buy this doll. Hey, this doll is $40. You have $40? No. So then when I buy it, oh, okay. Dang, daddy, you got a lot of money. This is when daddy working hard. You know what I'm saying? So
And that encourages them when they hit an obstacle when they're like trying to learn how to read or trying to learn multiplication.
Yeah.
Like just because it's hard doesn't mean I can't do it.
right.
Like they have that tenacity.
Because you do the
you're-
affirmations with them.
Right, but they also see you working hard. So I think that's the beauty of having a two-parent household where you can show your kids both side of things. Like I work really hard when it comes to like that internal thought process because for so long I was bound by a negative one. So I'm doing
Like
heavy
I
duty
can
work.
do it. Ooh,
Right.
I'm gonna keep trying my best.
Yeah, on those belief
I
systems.
am smart.
And, yeah, thought
Because Art
process.
had them saying a whole thing like every night. What is it like? I am.
They have a whole list of affirmations, but like that's where I do most of my heavy lifting.
Right.
But you're right. Like you do the real world experiences. Like you may say something like, "That's not your best," or "I get you tried," right? But in order to meet the standard, you have to come up.
Yeah,
you-
like
you-
when she was trying to, she didn't want to do her writing one
yeah,
day.
she was like, I don't want to do that. Mind you, this girl can talk. She could talk, and she can come up with stories. And so what I try to tell her is like, you have a gift
Yeah.
to speak. And if you can speak, you can write because what you say will last longer if it's in print, if it's in a book, So I try
Shout
to
out to
encourage
John
her.
Maxwell.
Absolutely. I try to encourage her that even though it's difficult, right now it's difficult. If you keep doing it, it'll get easier. So continue working on that. And so I'm saying that from like the internal belief, her self efficacy.
And as the teacher.
Right. And then he came in behind me, and I thought this was so masterful how God just structured that moment. Like he came in behind me and demonstrated how to write a script for. She's been talking about she want to make a YouTube channel to play dolls. Okay, there ain't nothing wrong with that. So, but he showed her how to do it. So
Which
now,
involves
so now
writing.
she's excited about writing because she sees how it connects with her interests in the real world.
Yeah, because
So,
that day she was like, I just don't want to write. I just can't,
I feel like
Mommy.
it's punishment. I'm like, girl.
And I'm like, but Kendall, you have to write. I said, you want to know how Daddy makes a lot of money? Because I know how to write.
Right.
So I said, you know what, why don't we do a script for your doll show? So we start writing, and she's like, ooh, you write so fast. Ooh, you write so pretty, Daddy. And I'm like, this is why Mom tries to keep getting you to write better so that one day you too can write fast. One day too, yours can look pretty. Because remember what I always tell you, if people can't read it, they don't understand how smart you are. And so then you could literally see the wheels turning in her head, and she's like, oh, snap, okay.
And
So
now she's
writing
like,
is-
oh, I want to write episode 2.
you see what I'm saying? So that's kind of the benefit of having both of us and working together in that aspect. And then we already talked about earlier, like even with the business side, like hey, structure your welcome to the team experience when you sign a client. What should they be experiencing? That's how hard. That's not me. Because they paid, let's start working. She's like, no, 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 no. You got to give people an experience.
Yeah.
Why do they want to stay if you just gonna act like everybody else? And I think that's been huge for our growth and making people feel welcome. Yeah.
Remembering like their birthday or
I've
the
been slipping
holidays.
on that, by
I
the
know,
way.
but we're gonna get back on track. Like remembering the holidays, like because some people don't
Slipping.
have family to go to, or they may be at odds with their family. So having someone
And I meant to
remember
talk
them.
to you about that. Did you know I was trying to upgrade their onboarding process? Like, well, what we do, so like when a client signs or it's their birthday or it's Christmas, we normally send them like a bag of cookies. And I was just like, I want to send something a little bit more because I read this book called Giftology. So I'm like, I want to go a little bit deeper. So I think I found a vendor, by the way, that I'm going to need you to approve.
Okay.
Because it's like a box, but like one of it is like 5 different teas and candles. And I'm just like, I don't know if that would fit my people. Because that means I can't send a generic thing. Now I got to start.
Yeah, because with scents, like everyone doesn't like the same scent.
Yeah.
Some people are self-conscious
Well,
about
I'ma
their
let you-
size. You don't want to be asking their size.
But that's why I said I need to bring you in on that. But anyway, all right, cool. So what else, I guess, is your experience in being a partner? Because your name may not be on like Kinley paperwork, but I think every spouse is always super influential on whoever the business owner is. So like, do you have any more feedback, well, I guess comments on how you've learned to grow into whatever you feel your role is, or things you've noticed, or you think about that while I try to see what my questions were.
I mean, I probably would just build upon what I've already said about growing to understand the value you bring as a spouse, because I mean, you're the main person in his ear.
Ooh, okay, keep
You know,
going.
like when he's having a tough day or we have some kind of setback, what I say in that moment will impact his decisions. So there's a level of power there to understand your role.
Yeah, and the
You know,
influence.
and that influence will steer the whole family. So if I'm just rah 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 beating him up, he may crash, and if he crashed, the whole house crash. But if I'm mindful of what I say,
Look at you protecting the investment.
if I'm mindful of what I say, and if I don't know what to say, sometimes just being there, or praying, asking God, just continue to keep him strong, lift the heaviness of the load so he can keep going step by step every day. Just doing those things, and understanding your power as a mother. Like when I shifted the way I ate, the whole family shifted. You know what I mean? So you have influence over to affect the entire household. And if you're affecting the household, you're affecting the whole bloodline, because the experience that your children
Legacy.
have, that will impact either in a good way or a bad way how they parent, or how they
Yeah.
view parenting. You know what I mean? So what you say, you're speaking either life or death. So just knowing that as a wife, because sometimes, especially if you've already had a hard day and then your spouse is having a hard day, sometimes you don't have it to build them up. But what you can do is be in the trenches together, and just remember that two is better than one. That's what our godmother says all the time. Two is better than one, because if one falls down, the other one can help, and pick them up. So just being present and realizing the value of your influence. It may not be to the nations, but if you're raising amazing children who are world changers, they may impact nations. So those seeds, you may not see the outcome right now, but just knowing that you're playing the long game. Like, I'm gonna be strategic with what I'm putting in my husband. What am I putting in my children? Like, if he's gonna encourage someone, I don't want it to be where he's at a deficit because I'm just just beating him down. I want him to be able to pour from a full cup, not one that I'm draining constantly.
Ooh, okay, that's good. All right, so what would you hope that the kids, I guess, get from this journey that we're on?
I would want them to not, some people just want
Because I guess it would be for both of us. Like, what would you hope they get from me? What would you hope they get from you?
I don't necessarily have a goal for, like, individually what they get from us, because we can't really control that, but what I would hope that they would be able to walk away saying is that they saw unity in the household, and that caused them to feel secure in who they are as a person. I want them to live a life where their spirit is never broken. Like, I want our kids to be so fortified in who they are in God and who they are. Like, I don't want life to be able to shake them. Like, if they experience difficulty, I want them to realize.
So these are the values that you want to pass. Principles.
I'll say some of the affirmations. Like, I want those to be so embedded in their mind. Like, we say them every day. I want to be so embedded in their mind that when they experience stuff, it's second nature to know, I could do this,
So tell them the affirmations. Like,
okay.
What do you... Just do the basic one. I know the longer one.
I mean, I got to say the whole thing, honey.
Okay, well, say the whole thing. Because maybe they want to start implementing this with their kids.
Child, my mama done started saying these affirmations. Okay. I have them. I'll be like, all right, ladies, it's time to say our affirmations. They be like, yes,
because KL
mommy.
can't talk, so this is literally to the girls.
So I'll be like, I am smart. I am beautiful.
I am beautiful.
I can do anything I put my mind to.
I can do anything I put my mind to.
I am loved.
I am loved.
I am accepted.
I am accepted.
There's greatness in me.
There's greatness in me.
And if I work hard.
And if I work
and
hard.
I work smart.
And I work smart.
I can achieve my wildest dreams.
I can achieve my wildest dreams.
Everything about me matters.
Everything about me matters.
I am loved unconditionally.
I am loved unconditionally.
By my family.
By my family.
God.
And
myself.
And myself.
And there's nothing I can do.
And there's nothing I can do.
To stop myself.
From
being loved.
And
I also added these last two.
Oh, you added some.
I added two more. I added two more because
this?
Callie needed this. She needed this, so I added it for both of them, for all three of them. KO can't repeat yet, but I added.
He be sitting there just looking like this.
I added I'm valuable.
I'm valuable.
And I also added I'm powerful.
Oh, that's Callie's favorite.
Yeah.
I'm powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why did you make them say these affirmations?
I made them say these affirmations because I wanted my shortcomings to be their strength. Like, the area that I've struggled and the most is belief in myself from a young age. Like, that's always been my thorn, right? And so I come from a line of broken women. And so
Yikes.
I wanted our children, since we had girls coming out the gate, I wanted them to be women who were unbroken. And I mean, I know everyone has a breaking point, but I wanted them to be so solidified in who they are, their identity, because most people struggle in that area.
Yeah.
I wanted them to be fortified. There's so many wavering opinions. There's so many things that will come, ideologies that'll cause people to second guess who they are. And I wanted my children to be solid in who they are, period. So whether they hear something that's contrary to what I say or someone else, because, I mean, arguments can be convincing. I just wanted them to be solid in their mind. Because if you're solid here, nobody could take, like, you could take something away from me, but what's here you can't take. And so I just wanted to be so embedded that they're unshakable. And I want them to be, a force to be reckoned with. And for them to be positive role models for other people. I want them to be able to walk into an arena and shift the entire atmosphere and to be like forerunners, and change the world for the better. So.
All right, cool. So And we'll wrap it up right here. So, if you could look back to your high school self or your fresh out of college self, now that you are at your current stage, what would you tell that version of you? What would you tell
Child, I
high
would
school
tell
Ari?
me them affirmations. Girl. But I mean, the thing is,
Like being like your present day Ari,
yeah,
you've experienced whatever you feel you've experienced now or
child, I
overcome.
would have to speak life to that daughter, cause honey, oh Jesus. The thing with belief in self, um, it's it's a little tricky because you can't believe for the person. Like you can tell the person
That's pretty good
all
right
the
there.
things, but if there's so much gunk in their heart and mind that has like really solidified their belief system about themselves, it's really hard to break through that, and it takes a chisel, like somebody who's going to keep hammering it. Because if you tell someone something long enough, eventually they'll believe it. So, I think it would just be a matter of her being myself at that point in life, being surrounded with people who are speaking life. Because there was so much brokenness there that just saying something one time wouldn't suffice. So just to be surrounded with safe people who can pour into you and build you up.
Okay, that's what's up. All right, well, hopefully y'all got something from this. Of course, if you're the husband and you got, a home manager, as some people like to call it, I think this would be a great episode to share. And then on the flip side, if you're the wife of said person, um, I hope you enjoyed the episode and got to see just a little bit of our story, our journey, and leaving a legacy for our crew. And then, of course, she's part of my legacy, right? Like how I am is a reflection of her and vice
Vice
versa.
versa, yeah.
So I've definitely tried to bring her along the journey with me because, I mean, like, I could have came here by myself. She probably wouldn't have liked
No,
it.
you
But
couldn't.
But this is our second year here because it's the second year of the conference, and even just being here, spending time like just us, like we're learning that like you got to have just mom and well husband
Husband and
wife
wife,
because it ain't
baby.
mom
I'm
and
not.
dad.
I'm not mommy right now.
So I'm super thankful for you. You know I love you.
I love you
You
too.
know you my right baby. Okay, I remember your homework.
Your homework
No, it's your homework.
is our homework.
Jesus. Um, so yeah, so we're just super thankful for this. I'm thankful for. I mean, y'all don't understand. Like she said, those were some long nights, and she would literally wake up and be like, "Babe, it is 4 in the morning. It's time."
Yeah.
And now it's to the point where she like threatens, like, "I will come over there and turn the whole. I'll unplug all your stuff. I don't care if you hit save." And I'd be like,
I've had to kidnap him and take him to the movies one time. Like he was working so nonstop, he wasn't even bathing one time. I was like, "Sir, you gotta go take a shower."
"Was
Like
that the time I was sick?"
it was tax season.
I think I was a little under the weather too. Give the
He
people some
won't stop.
context. Well, they be like, "Oh man, he nasty." No, what happened was I didn't go to the gym. Normally, I go to the gym
His
at
schedule was
5:30,
thrown off.
which is like my cutoff
You ain't got
time.
to tell your whole schedule. Your schedule was thrown off, and so you didn't bathe that day. And I said, "Sir,
And she was like, "Wait, you ain't go to the gym? Did you take a shower?" Mind you, it's like
I didn't have to
11 or
ask.
12.
I had smelled something.
Yeah.
I smelled a little something. It was a big something." And I said, "Sir, you have to wash your butt because you got that butt."
That crack, boy, you gotta run
Sir.
something wet with some soap back there.
Scrub a dub dub up in that tub.
But that's what your spouse is supposed to do, right? Bring you back into reality. Keep that balance. When you're doing good, pat you on the back. When you're not doing good, get you refocused. So I just want to say I'm super thankful for you. I'm glad we're able to do this in wonderful Costa Rica at the Commitment Summit. Again, shout out to Go Box Studio for just giving us this time to be able to have this because we wanted to do this like months ago.
Right.
But then life was life.
Hey.
Life was life.
It was doing what it does.
It was trying to smack my face and I ain't like
It
it.
didn't try, it did. It smacked both our face. Like pow pow. But now we like pew.
Pew. And so we're just thankful to be able to do this. Any last words you want to leave for the stay-at-home mom, the one that's supporting, the one that may be in the background, the one that's watching the kids?
No, I feel like I've already completed that assignment, but I will just continue to say I am so proud of you.
Oh,
From the
boy.
first time we were like at the beginning of our dating experience,
12 years ago.
I told you back then that you were extraordinary. And
Yes, do y'all, so I think we talked about this, but like I never planned on starting a business. And Ari used to always tell me, what you used to say, like, Cam, I think,
you
I
were
feel,
going to school for accounting, and I was like, I get that, but I said that don't really fit you. You seem more like a business owner or
and I used
something.
to just laugh
He
at her.
laughed in my face, but where we at? I prophesied that thing, baby. Look at you. But yeah, you are extraordinary as
Thank
a
you.
human
I'm working on
being.
accepting compliments. Thank
As a
you.
human being. I'm not just talking about a business owner. And I've told you before, you may be Superman to your clients. You come and save the day and help them to maximize their growth, but you definitely do that at home too. And so I just really appreciate you for doing that for me personally. Like
Uh-oh.
I was telling you yesterday, I ain't gonna cry because you know, oh, this
Remember your
this is
homework.
coming from my heart. But
Remember
I
your
just
homework.
I just want you to know, like you have made a tremendous impact on me
And you made an impact
personally.
on me, because there'll be some days I'll be like, Ari, I don't care. I'm
But you
through.
asked me about what I wanted to say.
And that's fair.
And
That's
so
fair. Let
I'm
me not.
telling you what I want
I'm
to say
sorry.
about you.
You right.
And you literally blow me away. I am just so proud of you, of how you have evolved,
Burn it away. Burn it away.
of how you have evolved spiritually. Like I may be in the background in terms of business, but when I'm up there singing praise and worship at church, you're
Shout
in the
out to Cross
background. Like at
Church.
church, they know him as Ari's husband, you know. But I just like you
Well, I
are
think that's
you do
because
it
you
with such
modeled.
grace, you
Well, I
know.
think that's because you modeled for me, like with Kenley. Like I'm pretty much the one that's in the forefront, and Ari's kind of, that excellent plus one. She knows how to interact and mingle with my people, so to speak. But at church, at least when we went to this church, like Ari was the one that was in front. And at first I was kind of like, oh, this is weird. But I looked at the example that she said, like, I can play the background, I can be cheerleader, I can support, I can record the video or yeah, yeah, rah, rah, rah. So I think, you set that precedent for me to be able to also learn how to play the background, how to follow, and that it doesn't take anything away from me either.
No,
I
because you're
don't.
brilliant, sir. You're amazing.
Well, but I'm saying I was able to take that, and even like with my clients, like, ain't nobody gonna say, hey, this is my CFO. You know what I'm saying? My clients get to just do their thing, and it is cool as long as you're making money, as long as you're thriving and doing what it is that you love to do. I'm cool with that. So I think you've even taught me how to do it with grace, and confidence at the same time. So we could probably go on forever. We probably need to cut the episode short because we'll be up here talking for another
Tell me in the
hour.
room how much you appreciate me,
Because you
baby.
got homework. Yo, you got one
Speak to my
job.
spirit and my body. No, no.
Uh, you got one job. I told R the first day we got here. I said, R, you got one job. Don't you get pregnant on this trip.
And I haven't. And I won't.
That's right. You will not.
I will not. I speak that thing.
Speak it in faith and
Yep.
in the natural.
Mm-hmm.
You will not.
You will not. But anyway,
All right, y'all. Again, we just want to give a big shout out to Go Box Studio. Thank you for letting us
Yes.
use your space. To the Commitment Summit, that's JC, Karen, and David. Thank you
Wonderful
for having
people.
us here.
Thank you.
We love this experience. We're so thankful for the whole all
everything.
inclusive.
It's been amazing.
Y'all, this food. If you have not gotten out of the country, get your passport and make that a to-do list because it will change your life, your perspective, the whole nine. So with that being said, this is Legacy's Journey with the wonderful Ari Williams, and we will talk to y'all later.
Thank you for having me.
See ya.
Bye.